And hello all of my fellow nerds out there, this is Oracle Nerd Richie and welcome back once again to our Wonderland Remastered. So last time okay wait, actually I should probably say that I'm doing this intro because Arc 1 is actually finished and Arc 2 didn't really have any updates yet. But Carrot actually released the update just earlier last month, I should say. And wait, I just realized something is not right. Oh, wait, right, it's that time of the year again. Hang on. There we go. That's a lot better. Anyway, yes, happy Pride Month, everyone. So, I got my load save file right here, so let's just go back in and see where we're gonna be at. There we go. So now we have Iggy on the bottom left. I, I scrolled down to Genzou's name in the list. He seems like the safest bet, I guess. I'm still not sure why I need to call him or anyone, to be honest. But if I'm going to go out of my way to force myself into social interaction, I might as well be someone who doesn't care about how awkward I am. I press the call button. Phone rings. Rings again. When it rings for a third time, just about giving up until the ring cuts off mid-blip, and a somewhat out-of-breath Genzou belts loudly into the receiver. Iggy! I wince and pull the phone away from my ear. Damn! Iggs, is there blood rain from the sky? Are there mountains trembling? The moon must be about to fall if you're calling me. Very funny. I roll my eyes. So what's up? What do you need your bestest best pal in the universe for on this fine morn? Did you? Only suddenly I hear a rustling in the phone, followed by Genzou's muffled voice shouting at someone. I said in the back room, you think I can't hear you over there? Then closer, back to receiver. Jesus. Everything alright over there? I asked with a chuckle. Hey, a bit of a madhouse, but if you couldn't tell, new batch of parts coming in. I got an order I'm getting ready for pickup this afternoon. Already had 2 drop-offs this morning. Dang, I won't keep you then. It wasn't anything important, just a random urge to call, I guess. Jesus, Eggs, don't hype yourself up too much there. People will start asking you to run for president. Another rustle. He seems to have moved the phone to his opposite ear. Tell you what, you come by down the shop, we'll give a proper convo, beers and everything, as soon as I'm done with this order. But, I saw myself. Swallow the usual excuse to give whatever, so anyone asks me to do anything. I close my eyes for a moment and take a breath. You know what, sure, I'll be over in a bit. Ah, diggity damn, I hear over the receiver what sounds like a phone falling to the ground, a string of curse words. Oh, Genzou's still his same old self. Arc 2. Thank God the Arc 2 Remastered update came out. Genzou's shop is over in the downtown area, a good 15-minute walk from Brookside. Then again, most places are a good 15-minute walk from Brookside. Either that or I just have a really bad sense of time. The little bell above the door rings as I step inside, where I quickly met with the scent of grease and metal, and what smells faintly like damp wood chips. Genzou's head pops up from behind a far counter so fast he hits his skull on the overhead shelves. God, effing! He grimaces and pushes himself to his feet, one hand in the back of his head. That was graceful, I say with a laugh. Oh, eggs! His normal smile returns. That was quicker than expected. One hand up traces the other side of the counter. He tools around to the front, then immediately shoots his arms out. Put her there! I guess I figured I should come over before I talked myself out of it. Wait, is this music new? I don't know if this music is new or not. It could have been an original for all I know. Look at him. I lean forward towards his shoulder, and he brings his arms around my middle in a hug that crushes me against his belly. Hey, except this is the first towards recovery. Am I right or am I right? He laughs and gives me a final squeeze. When I pull back, some of the grease smudges from his cheeks and neck relocate themselves onto my clothes. I glance around, checking out the displays of newly repaired bikes waiting for their new homes like dogs at the animal shelter. A lot of work today then, huh? Tell me about it. Was just about to double check the new invoices on the old number cruncher. Come on. He gestures and heads towards the entryway to the back shop, hands stretching out to out key landmarks along the way. The smell is even stronger in the back. The half-finished bicycle lies in the middle of the floor. Past it, I see a large tool bench. Everything neat and tidy and perfect in its place. There's a pile of boxes in the corner, and one of them already open and the gleam of dirty silver peeking out. Genzou turns away from the shop proper into a small office, complete with a desk, computer, printer, and slowly twirling overhead fan. There's something about the colors that makes it look something like something straight out of the 70s, and the floor-to-ceiling wood paneling on the walls doesn't help. I can't help but wonder if this place was like this when Genzou bought it. Genzou slumps down in the orange leather computer chair and spins towards the monitor. Damn, order was supposed to come yesterday, but what can you do? Service these days. He hits a key on the keyboard, and the speakers crackle with life. With start window, search box, edit, type search here. Type here to search. A couple more key flicks and the spreadsheet opens up on the screen with 2 columns of numbers. He begins tabbing through them, listening to the name of each item followed by the amount and prices. I take the opportunity to glance around silently. There isn't much on the desk or on the walls. The end of the phone charger sticks up through the round hole in the turned up wood veneer. A couple of empty granola bars wrappers sit beneath the monitor. A black bordered clock on the wall ticks away. What most surprising, to the extent that I pull a double take on seeing, is a lumpy figure slouched over just past the keyboard. It's been hacked together from green and blue swatches of fabric and filled with beans, giving it a humorously oblong shape. Its eyes have been fashioned from 2 black buttons. Checkers? Checkers and Oswald! Damn, if that doesn't take me back. Oh, look at them. We made them in our home ec class in junior high. The unit where everyone had to practice sewing, the guys got really immature about it and made random things from our fabric rather than recommend the recommended pillow or tote bag. And Genzou and I had made Checkers and Oswald, 2 partners in crime off on missions most perilous. We'd both gotten C's in that unit. Too bad. I can barely keep the chuckle from my lips as I think back. I also like how Iggy's shirt actually has the ace colors. That's cool. I'd given Checkers to Genzou afterwards, and he'd given me Oswald. Where had he gone? I frowned. Now I can't remember. At my folks' house still, maybe. Or sold at a garage sale. I cringe. Now I feel guilty. A sudden crack jerks me out of my thoughts. And I turn to see Genzou slapping the keyboard down against his desk. Damn thing! I look at the screen. The speakers have gone quiet. The cursor seems to be frozen in place. Look at this. Can't even open the damn spreadsheet, for crying out loud. Piece of junk. Another slap of the keyboard. He frowns. Whatever. He should have emailed it too. Wait, check this out. You're gonna love this. Technology is great. He yanks the phone out of his pocket and brings it to just below his chin. Hey, Dougal, read my mail. A surprisingly male British voice springs forth from the speaker. No problem. You have 2 new emails. First email, Wall Blue Pharmacy. Reminder, your prescription number 92871. View from an HCI. 150 milligrams. Stop reading! Genzou jabs the power button on the phone until the voice stops. He laughs and bites on his lip. Bupropion? Bupropion? He raises his breath. Isn't that an antid? Then I realize I'm saying let the words die in my lips. Genzou grins sheepishly and turns his head away. He runs a hand through the hair beneath his cap. Hey, I mean, you know how it is. He laughs. Sometimes the nights get kind of long. I press my lips together, but suddenly very happy that Genzou can't see the look on my face, nor the stone tumbling around my gut. Anyway, what the fuck are we just sitting around here for? Come on, there's a half-finished velocipede out there that needs a little TLC from yours truly before its proud parents come back this afternoon. Lend me a hand, will ya? Sure, no problem. I take a step back as Genzo maneuvers around the desk and back to the door to the shop. He pauses only momentarily to slap the top frame of the door on his way out. It's been a long time since I've watched Genzo work, and it's still as impressive as it was back then. His hands barely need to touch the frame before his fingers find what they're looking for. Then the twist here and a tug there. All the parts he needs laid out in a circle around his little stool. Getting ready to be changed out, popped into place, dents hammered out, spokes unbent, and broken chains replaced. Every tool he needs is the customary place in his apron, ready to be slipped out at a moment's notice, held fast between his lips as he frowns at something beneath his fingers. He has me hold the one-wheel frame to keep it from falling, though I'm sure it's only to give me something to do and not feel completely useless. Yeah, I'm gonna be real, Carrot. This music is really nice. I don't even remember if this music was in the original. Then he sends me the new boxes of parts to find what he calls a derailer, of which I'm only able to find after he tells me to look for the mechanical seahorse. Once the new chain's back on, it's time for the front wheels, so it's my job to hold it again, despite the bike stand sitting right next to us and seemingly primed to its exact purpose. None like the human touch, Genzo assures me and gives my knee a motivating pat through the frame. By this point, both of our faces and hands are streaked with grease. Genzo's from actually getting up close and personal with the feisty two-wheeler. Mine because I forget about the grease on my hands and give my face a big old swipe to massage the tingling itch on my nose. The wheel goes out easily and the chain connected. A few pumps of air into the tires lands the final touch. Then the bike is good to go, standing tall and proud. Genzo takes a rag to the frame, wiping away the potential grease stains that may have been left behind. Take her for a test spin. He stands up and turning the rag onto his own hands. Can't really do the arms myself. I look down at the bike, then up at Genzo. I haven't stepped foot on a bike in years. I'm not sure that's such a good idea. You would save just in case. Oh, sure, okay. Sure, okay. I throw a hesitant leg over the frame and position myself on the saddle, feet rising up onto their toes. The handlebars feel sticky beneath my sweaty palms. I'm not really, good at this though. I wobble forward, wheels spinning first left then right, then back to the left. I feel like tipping, but I can't do anything about it. We're helpless. Oh no! The two of us go down. Genzou just laughs and let out a groan. Slow down there, Lance. I'll need to fix it again at this rate. I'm not sure if I'm the best partner to have in the shop. I pull myself back up to my feet and load the bike back with me. Nah, you're great. Wouldn't change a thing about ya. There's something about the words that gives me pause, and I feel tendrils of heat lap my cheeks. But it's a comforting feeling rather than an awkward one. Aww. The kind that loosens the muscles in my shoulders and untwists my bowels. Homie. Anyway, what do we do now? You said they're gonna pick it up later, right? Yeah, sometime this afternoon. He palms his phone. Hey Dougal, what time is it? It is 2:34 p.m. We probably got some time then. Help me lug this thing up front, then we can kick things back with some beers. Wheel the bike into the front of the shop area as Genzou cleans up the leftover part scraps. The newly restored frame gleams next to its sibling beneath the fluorescent light. Back here, Riggs. Genzou calls as I start back to, and I see him scrounging around in a small fridge in the back of the shop. He pulls 2 beers out from the bottom shelf. Convenient, I muse on my approach. Isn't it though? Genzou laughs. It's great being your own boss sometimes. He reaches towards the wall and feels for a nearby handle, tugging open the door and to the back patio. I think I need more. I need to get more sleep, to be honest. The sun is high in the sky by this point, but our little area is shaded, looking out across a small wooded area behind the development. Genzo kicks his foot out to locate the lawn chair. The lawn chair that's clearly seen its fair share of use before sinking down into it with a sigh. He he gestures towards the other side of the door. There should be another one over there. I find it as promised, fold it up against the wall, and carry it over to join him. Genzo pops open his beer and takes a sip, clasps his legs in front of himself. I follow suit. Hmm. There's a wonderful little breeze whistling through the trees and playing with my curls. For just a second, I'm back in grade school and Genzo and I have just come back from an expedition in the woods, feasting our well-earned spoils of orange soda and ice pops. Genzo scrounges around in his pocket before pulling out a pack of cigarettes. He brings one to his lips, lights it with a flick of his lighter, then sits back and takes a long, slow drag before blowing the stream of smoke into the air. So, when are you and Gidge getting together, huh? He asks out of the blue. The question catches me off guard, and I nearly choke on my beer. What? Genzo just shrugs and laughs, the cigarette bouncing between his lips. Always figured it was an inevitable, and it was an inevitability myself. Just didn't know when. I mean, I don't. I run a hand through my hair, nails scratching at my scalp. I never really thought about it. Never? Genzo raises a brow. I don't know. Maybe. But I don't really. I don't know. My knee is bouncing like a jackhammer. Genzo is quiet, head pointing lazily skyward. He takes a sip from his beer and taps the ash off the end of his cigarette. Did, didn't know it was such a touchy subject, he finally says with a grin. It's not I don't think it's about that type of stuff I don't think about that type of stuff often. Genzo turns towards me. I can practically see him blinking in amused interest beneath his sunglasses. You're a bit of an odd duck, you know that, Eggs? Oh, and you're a portrait of normalcy, I crack. Ha! This this elicits this elicits a laugh. I suppose you got a point there. He slaps his stomach. At least I've got this old belly of mine to keep me company into my ripe old age. It's it's the only thing that can put up with my quirks. I frown. My mind goes back to the night prior, to what Orlum said, and what Genzo had seemed pretty adamant on avoiding. I rubbed the mouth of my beer across my lips absentmindedly, watching him over for a few moments. You know, I finally say, letting out the sound stretch just a few more moments. You can always tell me anything, right? If you want to, of course. Kenzo is quiet. His head is pointed off towards the trees now. He's got the cigarette perched at the end of his lips. The little wiggle. Up and down, he wheels it back and forth. He finally grabs it between his fingers, cocking it out at an angle as he blows a plume of smoke. I'll tell ya. I'll tell you once you've gotten yourself hitched and you popped out 2.5 kids in a white picket fence to corral them. How about that? Then we'll be able to have ourselves a good laugh about it. I don't say anything. And hear me out, he continues. You get yourself good and famous, you know, churning out hit games, and you get yourself a big old apartment in New York City with 6 lovely ladies at your beck and call. Whichever one comes first. Those are some high demands. Hey, I expect a lot out of you. What can I say? Clearly. The silence returns, and we sit there sipping our beers, taking in the breeze, listening to the birds somewhere up in the trees. It's nice. Like, equivalent to being at home by myself nice. Not sapping me of energy nice. Not demanding or expecting anything of me nice. Just feeling at ease. Kids reaches over and feels for my arm, gives it a squeeze. Hey, thanks for coming over, you know. I return his squeeze with a squeeze of my own, wrapping my fingers around his knuckles. I held him for perhaps a moment too long. Of course. Aw, it's sweet. I get back to my apartment a bit before dinner time. Despite the fatigue tugging at my mental muscles, I feel, I don't know, lighter? My head a bit clearer. I can feel myself smiling as I think about the evening ahead and how much work I still have left to do. I ordered myself a be- I ordered myself beef and broccoli from a little Chinese place a few blocks over to assuage the hunger growing in my belly, then set myself to work. I need to focus, get at least a few solid hours in before bed. I can still catch up relatively easily so long as I don't slack. I just need to find my groove. I make it around 11 before I find myself making errors I definitely shouldn't be making, which means it's time to call it quits for the day. So I retreat to the bed and get a good 30 minutes of reading in before my eyes are drooping and my head stops comprehending the words on the page. Time to sleep. I don't think about Hooner and Bucks again until I turn off my bedside lamp. By that point, I'm so tired that it isn't more than a passing thought as I bury my head in my pillow. I'm sure it's fine. I'll call tomorrow. I dreamed that night. I'm in the woods and someone's calling me. I chase after the voice in the darkness, but every time I think about getting close, it comes from a different direction. Iggy! I run faster, the branches whipping at my face, roots underfoot threatening to send me stumbling to the dirt. Come find me, Iggy. I run and I run. Run till I reach some sort of clearing. Where is this place? There's a giant gate at the far end, though I'm not even sure if gate is the right word. More like a barrier built from warped, knotted trees. There's a lock on it, a giant keyhole carved from dark wood. As I let my fingers trace the rounded curves, the voice returns. Open it. Open it? Open it how? I glance down and find him holding a doll. Its button eyes stare up at me vacantly, its long hair falling between my fingers. I look back at the lock, only it's no longer a lock. It's a heart. Beat, beat, beating. I try to take a step back, but something grabbed my hand. A set of tiny fingers. Too scared to look, but I have to. I have to know. I start to turn my head, only for the voice to whisper right next to my ear. Please kill me, Iggy. I gasp and sit up. Only now I'm back in my bed, and the sun reflecting off the window straight into my eyes. I groan, my heart still thudding away inside my chest. I wait a few moments for my sense of reality to return before shaking my head and climbing out of bed. It's late, far later than I usually wake up. And as I am taking my first sip of coffee, I remember Hooner. Worry bubbles up somewhere around my diaphragm. I should call. His number's still in the last one of my recent calls. It only takes a second before the phone is ringing, but it cuts to voicemail after the fifth ring. Damn. I gnaw at the inside of my cheek. The bubbles of worry are starting to turn into a froth. But what am I supposed to do at this point? Besides, I'm playing catch up with the work I didn't get to yesterday. I don't have a ton of spare capacity to spend worrying. I'll try I'll try again later. For now, it's back to work. Try to focus to concentrate on my work. But even the thought of the looming deadline isn't enough to keep my thoughts from straying. First to Hooner and the way his voice quaked on the phone, then to Bucks and the way her voice had cracked with anger during their argument. Then for some reason to Genzo. It's the way his voice sounds when he says my name. Comforting. Like being wrapped up in a warm blanket. All these different voices. I shake my head. This isn't the time to be daydreaming. I need to get this fucking thing done. I get it a few good hours, but I'm not particularly confident it's my best work. I'll probably need to go back through everything tomorrow just in case. I try calling Hooner again later that afternoon, but there's still no answer, which only agitates the gurgle of unease turning in my burrows further. It's even affecting my appetite by this point. Nothing sounds good. Nothing healthy, at least. So I simply reach for some of the half-eaten snacks in the pantry. Night falls along with my motivation. I'm past the point of even trying to divert my attention. I sit at the window and watch Mrs. Dawnish make her third trip to the mailbox that day, th- then retreat to my bed, figuring I'll play some music and try to relax, get an early night's sleep. Tomorrow should have some answers, but even my normal beats only serve to make my nerves dance in different patterns. I cover my head with my pillow and lie with my feet at the head of the bed. Then move to move to the floor, move to the chair in the living room. I sit there for a while, in the dark, just staring at the wall like an insomniac. Then at some point my gaze falls. My messenger bag is still slumped on the door by the far counter from where I tossed it the other night. And the split second before my eyes focus on it, I swear I see it move. What the? I blink and glance nervously around my dark apartment, but it's empty. Of course it's empty. Fuck, I'm really starting to lose it, aren't I? I need to get out, get some fresh air, clear my head. I push myself up and out of the chair with a little wobble and grab my keys, then step outside. The breeze feels refreshing on my cheeks, and when I take a deep breath, it curls up in my lungs like a giant whiff of menthol. Maybe I've just been cooped up too long. I start down the sidewalk and my steps disguised by the hum of cicadas. Past neighboring apartment complexes, past the small houses with their single-car garages. Soon, I left Brookside behind me and find myself instinctively heading north towards my folks' old house. The outcropping of woods there still hasn't been built over after all these years. My palm tingles, like a pinprick-like scratching that jumps from one nerve ending to the next, and makes my fingers twitch. I curl my arms around my chest in an effort to dull the growing spark. Why did I? I stop and glance around. Why did I walk all the way out here? I shiver. The breeze that had once felt cool and refreshing suddenly feels frigid against my bare arms. But instead of heading back, I press further, across the empty lot between the houses, towards the blackness of the woods beyond. I stop at the threshold between light and dark, one hand up to trace the bark of the nearest tree. What am I doing? My whole arm is throbbing now, as though thousands of tiny insects are biting and jabbing and gnawing at the skin. I step forward. A branch snaps not more than a few feet away. My heart leaps into my throat as I throw my arms up with a squawk. Who's there? Cripes in a handbag, about scared the bejesus out of me. Pause. Wait, Iggs, is that you? I lower my arms, then squint as my shadow moves away from the nearby tree. It's Genzou. Just Genzou. The rapid hammering in my heart begins to recede. Somehow the orange tint of his hat in the darkness feels incredibly comforting all of a sudden. He reaches out with his cane to find me, then gives me a couple of crisp whaps on the ass to usher me closer. Damn, Iggs! I've seen more of you these last few days than have in the last year. I'd almost think you were stalking me, except that I know, well, you. Did being in my presence suddenly spark a deep, unyielding need for inappropriately timed drollery? You wish. What are you even doing out here? Could ask you the same thing. I scratch the back of my neck, shuffle my feet. I mean, was just taking a walk. Same. Couldn't sleep? Nah. We grew quiet. A strange chill begins creeping up my spine. I wonder if Genzo had the same urge to get out of the house as I had. So, now comes the question of the hour. Yeah? You were going there, were you? I guess. I mean, I wasn't really thinking about it. Me neither. Pause. You don't think. I don't know. Guess we won't know if we don't check. Yeah. That hoots from somewhere in the darkness. Well, let's go then. Lead the way. I throw a final glance at the black void between the trees, then step inside. The air instantly cools. It's a damp chill, the kind that sticks to your skin and weighs down your chest. I press forward through the scattered brush, using my hands to keep from walking face first into a tree. I hear Genzo's cane whipping through the grass and snapping against the bark behind me. On that, the familiar sound. I keep my nerves from jumping out of my skin. I have to say, if I'm going to be walking through the woods at night, I'm at least glad it's him I'm with. His mere presence dulls the sharp bite of anxiety gnawing at my insides. I reach forward, seeking out the bark of the next tree. Only this time, when my fingers touch the jagged edges, it sends a spark all the way up my arm and into the back of my throat. I stop. Genzou's king wraps against my ankles, and he stops too. We here? Yeah. I answer before I even have a chance to check, because I know. How can I not? That is definitely thumbnail material. The biggest tree in the forest, its base like a giant boulder choked with winding roots. I let my fingers trace across its surface as I circle around it, careful not to trip on the gnarled outgrowths. Halfway around, my hand hits air. I come to a halt. The familiar edges are there, the rounded gap in the side, the hollow echo of stagnant air, the far-off scent of something sweet. It's open. I take a step back and hear Genzou approach. Jesus. My whole body is crackling with energy now. Even the breeze seems to have shifted, everything moving towards the hole in the side of the tree. When was the last time Genzou's voice is a whisper? I don't remember. I throw a glance at Genzou. I can just make him out through the darkness. He's got a hand curled up under his hat, nails scratching at his scalp. I lick my lips, scratch my arm. Something feels wrong. Too wrong. And there's a strange sense of familiarity to all this. Almost as though I've stood in this exact spot, had the same conversation, and the outcome has been less than desirable. My stomach gurgles. I glance over at Genzou. Are you getting the weirdest sense of deja vu, or is it just me? What do you mean? I mean, like we did this before, the two of us. I think I'd remembered if we'd taken a romantic midnight stroll in the woods before, Eggs. I roll my eyes. Whatever, it's probably nothing. This whole situation is just weirding me out. I expect another smart retort from Genzou, something about how normal life is enough to weird me out. But there's nothing. When I glance over, he's just standing there, face grim and jaw tight. You okay? What? Oh, yeah. Just felt real hot all of a sudden. Must be going through menopause. I cock a brow, but turn back towards the hole at the same time. What do you think then? Should we go in? My voice hitches. Somehow I feel like we don't have much choice. I move forward towards the hole, popping a squat amongst the weeds. There's that scent again, soft, sweet, like a tempting aroma of candy store. It curls up in my nostrils. I grab the round edges and peek inside, leaning forward on my toes. We're sure it's not just some possum hole? Wouldn't that be hilarious? Genzou from behind. I can't tell if he's joking. I turn my head to look back, but whack my forehead at the top of the edge and lose my balance. I land with a bruise-inducing thud in my shins and let out a string of four-letter words. Just for a moment, and teeter-totter swaying back and forth atop the bottom edge. Then my forward weight wins, and I tilt further and further and further, and topple straight into the hole. Whew. All right. I think I'm gonna go ahead and leave this video here for now. I know this is probably a weird place to leave it off on, but I want to continue Arc 2 another day. So, anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to leave a like, comment what you think, share this video with your friends, and be sure to subscribe, click the bell so you don't miss a single notification. I'll see all of you in the next video. Goodbye.
You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a